Hello there, and welcome to my little arty corner here on YouTube. My name's Angela Porter, and I welcome you all here. Thank you if you've subscribed. I appreciate that so much, as well as all the thumbs up that are given. Thank you for all the comments you made after my last video. I will check on them after this. And if you're new here or you're a returning visitor who hasn't subscribed and you like what you see and hear, then please consider subscribing, because it's lovely. It shows support for what I'm doing, because you know, I've got a story about why I started this channel. I've told it many times, but today may not be that day. So it's Monday the 5th of June here. I'm supposed to be working on my new colouring book, but I had a migraine overnight. I didn't sleep very well. I kept waking up, and the headache is still with me to a degree, but it's left me absolutely exhausted. All I want to do is sleep, but I can't because I've got a delivery and I can't have it left outside because it's something that will melt in the heat. It's sweets, which are naughty, but you've got to have a treat. Got to have a treat every now and again. Confession time. I actually have filmed a video already, this one, but I'm just not happy with this. But I thought you might like to see. It looks better on the screen than I thought it did. Who knows, perhaps I'll keep the video on my computer and perhaps upload it another time or remake this. I think it's the colours. I used too dark a colour for the backgrounds. And this is another one that I was working on a bit earlier, and I used greens for the background, but when I came to add coloured pencils into the sections I'd drawn on before drawing patterns, I used some purpley pinky colours and 2 shades of green just to bring the greens out. And I have to say, using distress inks to create a coloured background and then the coloured pencils and Gamsol so it shows that texture I create underneath with water is one of my favourite things to do, as I did on this one. But this tag is just, even I smile at this one when I look at it. And I can't believe the dimension I've got here and how it looks. If I look at it in front of me, I don't notice so much, but on the screen there, I'm going, how on earth did I do that? But I did. And I've still got this one, but I'm not really feeling I want to use these colours today. I think that's perhaps why I'm not happy with the orangey red colours, because they are a bit too warm and energetic for me, and I need some colours that are perhaps cooler and soothing. So I've dug out blues and purples and pinks, and I just think they will work quite nicely. So I'm going to use some of my favourite colours. This is Mermaid Lagoon Distress Inks, and I'm just going to add this to this piece of Canson Imagine Mixed Media Paper. I couldn't tell you what size it is. I just know it's an offcut from me cutting out squares of paper. I'll find a ruler for, well, eventually. It looks a bit greeny on there. That's because the paper isn't entirely white. It has a hint of yellowiness, ivoryness to it. It's not pure white. So even though the colour is this, actually it does look a bit greeny on there, but it should be bluish. I do want another blue, and I'd like one that's got a bit more colour to it, but not too dark. Blueprint sketch is a bit bright and bold for me, so I'm going to use Faded Jeans just to perhaps bring some of the blue back. I'll add a bit more blue, which that's done. That's nice. I'm going to leave that with the blues, otherwise I'll end up with everything all one colour. And then to add some purples, there's some really bright and vibrant purples in this set, but I'm going to use this one, which is Dusty Concord. It's a dustier colour, which I think, oh yeah, that works really well. And I'm going to put it in areas, perhaps a little bit more in some areas. That almost looks like a flower, a spike of flowers there, doesn't it? So I may roll with that one and leave the other one as it is. So I'm quite happy with that, but what I would like to do is I would like to edge this with a darker colour, and I'm going to go for a blue, and I'm going to use chipped sapphire. Now normally I'd use browns to edge some artwork, but I just think this will just help to give that darker edge. It frames what's inside. Just like that. That's nice, and the colours are subtle enough for me to work with that I can add colours to them with coloured pencils, and they'll still show through. So I am just going to close my inks up. I'm just going to move them out the way just for a sec, because I want to add some water drops to this, and I'm just going to do this by trying to get water just to dribble out of this rather than flicking it all over the place, like so. I've got my heat tool here, so I will just give this a blast. It won't take too long to dry. And then I've got a stencil, and I'm thinking about adding pattern to the background now with a stencil, very subtly, as something else, and then I'm going to add some more drops of water. Let me just pick this up. You can see that as little distress ink as I've added, I really did overcook the other one with distress ink. I did add too much, and it's me finding what's right for me. And I think that's the subtler coloured background is better, because I can then intensify the colour where I want to. Whereas if it's too dark, then it's difficult to, and I know that the colour and the texture will show through anyway. So, and the background remains in the background then. When you add that colour, it lifts everything up. So I've got that done, and I've dug this stencil out. I haven't used this one before, but it looks like a damask type thing, you know, like those weird flock wallpapers. So I'm just going to pop it over the top. For this, I am going to use a makeup brush rather than a what's-you-ma-call-it thing. Yeah. And I am going to use the Dusty Concord for this. Now, I'm not interested in getting complete. I need to make sure I've got enough ink on this for what I want. Complete sections of this, I really don't, because they look like scary faces. Pareidolia, you know. But if I can just get a little bit of pattern and texture going on, something a bit different to what there was there. Let's have a look. There you go. It's very subtle. Perhaps a little bit just over here. A quick peek, and a little bit just here as well. Tiny, tiny bits. And it's very subtle and in the background. I've chosen the Dusty Concord, but I could do with a bit down here. Just going to use that there. Should be enough on that just to pick it up. Not quite, I need a little bit more ink. A little goes a long way, honestly. There we are, it's very subtle. It's sort of like it looks a bit fuzzy. Yeah, fuzzy, because so I moved the stencil. So I like that. That's worked nicely. So I just want to give this a little spritz of water, just so that we can soften perhaps the edges of the stencil a bit. And just move that. Give it a blast. The heat gun, and then I'll be good to go, hopefully. All works. I'm drying on the back as well, because that will help heat and dry the paper all the way through. It has bent a little bit, but that's only to be expected. So I'm just straightening it with my fingers, curling it backwards so it's flat. I can put that out the way. A little bit of paper there can go in the bin. The water can go out the way as well. And all I need then is a pen. Sorry, I'm talking away from the microphone. I do that. I forget. I've got a pen and I've got my glasses, which are most important. Now then, I've got to decide what I'm going to draw here. I did say I had something that looked a bit like a spike here. I'm not going to go with that. There's this lovely shape here that I would like to do something with. And I can see I've got these lovely shapes here that look like letter C's, that curl around like this. And I'm going to make use of them, perhaps not in their entirety. I'm shifting where they are to give me the centre of a flower, like so. And I'm just going to try and tidy my lines up because I'm not very good today. So I've got that there, and that's going to be the centre of my flower. So that's the shape of my petal, and I'm going to sort of work my way round with this. They don't have to be exactly the same. In fact, if they're not, it will make things a bit more interesting. And just get them around. I guess it's looking a bit rosish, but you know, just a bit. Let's have a look here and then see if that looks. I do think I need to do some more. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, so we need some more petals at the bottom. Perhaps like that, like this, and another one's there. And I think that's worked quite nicely, just like that. I'll put another one down here, and I'm going to use those kinds of shapes again in the middle. So I'm going to go around like that, around like that, and that's close enough for me. There. And then just start to draw my petals in. I'm overlapping them. I'm drawing them in, not always joining, leaving gaps between them, because then I can come back with another round of petals and just fill those little gaps in with little bits of petals sticking out, just to finish them off and to add some interest. And then perhaps I'll put another one down here. Again, I'm going to use this kind of centre, because if I've done it in one, I'm going to do it in them all. These petals are smaller, but I will make them bigger as we go outside. The flowers aren't identical, and they don't need to be, you know, in terms of exactly the same number of petals, exactly the same shapes. They just need to look like they belong. So that's worked quite nicely, I think. So I do want to add some stems to these, so I'm going to draw one stem in here. I'm going to draw another one that goes down here behind and perhaps comes out here and there. And then I've got this one, which I'm trying to think about where I want to draw it, and I think I may have it bending. Do I want it bending, or shall I have it going down? Let's have it going down behind, like so. and then coming out this way. Possibly. Yeah, it does look like that one belongs with that one. This one there. Some leaves. I'm going to draw a leaf sticking out of the top of this one. So I'm putting the vein in first, and I'm going to double that up, like so. Then it's like a zigzag line where you've got curves, long curves between the zigzags. So these look like roses, don't they? I'm going to add some details to them. And 2 looks awkward, so I do want a third one. I don't want it going over there, but I won't mind having one that goes this direction. Now if you find it awkward to draw the sides of the leaves like this, just do them smooth, or draw in pencil the shape that you'd like and use that as a guide for how you draw your ziggy-zaggy bits. I'm definitely going to add one at the bottom though. It's a curve, tick out from the centre, and back down. Do the same here. I'm going to have one that comes out here. Excuse my sniff. Oh, did that the wrong way. It's okay, we've got a strange notch out. Something's had a bite out of it. Okay, and another one here. And that will go behind. And then perhaps the third one on this one I will have up here. I can always add more leaves if I want to. This one, I can have it going up here. Which way? I'm having great trouble here. Yeah, we're having great trouble. I've just lost the plot with my leaves. That'll be fine. They're hand drawn, not perfect, not meant to be perfect. There we are. I knew I'd lose the plot at some point here today. Okay, how does that look? Perhaps I could have one more that goes up here. Like so. Any others? That does. On the stems, I'm just going to put some little leaves that look like this on the stems themselves, because, well, that one's a bit of a strange shape, but it'll do. Just to give them that nod that they are stems. They're not exactly like rose stems, but I think they'll do all right, don't you think so? And that one, I can just adjust that. That'll do nicely. So I've got my basic roses there. Okay. I've enjoyed doing this torn paper edging, collage edging so much. I can't resist putting it in again. And this is quite a chunkier piece of paper. It's wider than the others, but I decided to use it as a tag or a bookmark, because who says bookmarks always have to be, you know, thin and tall? Why can't they be a nice size like this? So I'm putting that double border in so I can run gold through that, or silver, or any other colour I choose. Gold just goes. Oh, it's my delivery, I'll be back. There we are, delivery accepted. All right, so I have thoroughly enjoyed creating this kind of edging on the tags and so on recently, and I don't know what it is about it. I don't think it's got anything to do with, I'm not a collager. I've tried it and it never feels right for me, but being able to draw it, or draw something that sort of like resembles it, I suppose, is a whole different kind of thing. And I am putting these double edges on these sections again, because I do fancy edging them with gold. Okay, so I'm going to have one here, and then I've got my final one will be that edge there. So I do want to add some details, I think, to these petals, but I think I'm going to do that afterwards, after I've added some colour. Now I'm not going to finish this here and now. Now my delivery's come. I need to go to sleep, which is all a bit daft really, but let's have a look. So I'm going to need Gamsol, which is here. I'm going to need a tortillon or paper stump. I've got one here. That end is a bit soft and squishy, so I'm just going to sand it off, because I don't want them soft and squishy and fluffy and all over the place. That doesn't suit me at all. That's better. That one's not too bad. It's a new one, look. It's quite a big one as well. I'm also going to turn my fan off, because it's on its lowest setting and I'm feeling quite chilly. I want some lovely purples to go here, I think. Oh, I put some of these in there. Oh well, hey ho. Oh, there's a couple more down there. What a surprise. Okay, I have got that ultra pink, but I'm really looking for, got a lilac, I've got violet, and there should be a blue violet here somewhere. It's finding it though. Oh, there's yet another one of those in there. Great. Oh, there's a midnight purple, which is a very dark purple. Forgot there was that one. There's denim there. That's not the one I want. I keep looking at the same things. Oh well. Oh, hang on, what's that one? Iris purple. Bit too light and too blue. Let me just check for a moment and see whether I've left this in this tray of stuff. Oh no, it's not in there. So they must be in here. There we are, violet blue. I was looking for a violet coloured top and it's a blue coloured top. So I'm going to make use of these, and I'm going to put violet blue just at the base here, around these as well. I'm going to put the darkest colour where the petals overlap so we get some shadow there. But part of me is also tempted to put some of the darker colour on the edges, as if the petals are curling down. So these appear to be that little bit further away. These little bits here, perhaps. Try that and see what happens. I'm just going to use the one colour for now on this one. So I know I can come back and add more colour if I want to at a later date. Now by doing this and leaving the centre section empty of colour, this will give a natural highlight if I do this just so, just right. And that's what I'm trying to aim for. So I may be better off with a smaller tortillon. I've got one here. It needs a bit of a clean because yellow and purple will make baby poop. I don't want baby poop here. So let's have a look and see how this will work. Okay, we've got some Gamsol. So you can see the end is just damp, it's changed colour. It soaks into it. And I don't need to press or rub hard with the Gamsol, I just let it do its work for me. And I am moving this tortillon in little circular motions. And as I move away from that area, the colour gets lighter and lighter. The paper will look a bit darker because the Gamsol will darken it, the way it has the tip of the tortillon here. But as I move the colour away, I can get a much lighter colour further away from it, like that. So I've now got a shadow and highlight on that one petal, which pleases me. I'm going to pick up a little bit more Gamsol. Okay, so let's do this with all of the others. And I may not do all of this in the video, just enough to get you started, with you to see what you can do. So I find that, I know people like to see it complete, but it can take me a lot longer than perhaps a video is sensible to do that. But if I give you enough to start with and show you the finished version, my finished version, then I can either talk through it or show it to you so you can work out for yourself what I've done in some ways, or even better, do your own thing. And to explore and discover things yourself. Actually, this is working really nicely. Why didn't I think of that for the other one? The one I showed you that I've given up on. I said, oh, I'm not going to show you how I did this. Not happy with it. I do think it's down to the colours. I don't know what possessed me to think that reds and oranges would be good for me when my head is hurting. Just need a little bit of that purple. Oh, I've put violet there rather than the violet blue. It'll be fine. It's just a slightly different tone. Quite a lot different, actually. Oh well, hey ho. Just add some of the blue. It'll be fine. Around these ones here, I'm not going to try and add an outer shadow. I'm just going to have the inner shadow on this one. The area is very tiny. I might actually need to go back with a bit more of the pencil. That's the violet, I want the violet blue. No, that's lilac. That's the violet blue. So let's just go back and add a little bit more there. I'm now thinking, oh gosh, Angela, what were you thinking when you did the insides of the inner parts of this? I think I'm going to make them little petals anyway, or little centres. And they'll be what they are. That's all I'm going to say. They are what they are, and we'll work and we'll let them be. Just do the same on all of them. I was thinking about putting yellow then. I'm thinking that would look too weird. You see? Yeah, it's beginning to work, isn't it? I do need a little bit more under these ones though, just to really get that dark edge there. And I don't know if you can see I'm moving the tortillon in a kind of curved shape here so that I can get that a curved kind of highlight there. I do want to soften the edges of these just that little bit. And we can do the same here. It's rather good where I've added some shadow right away around the edge of these rather than leaving a highlight on the edge, as if I can get those to darken up, then that makes a bit more sense, which is good. That works nicely. Okay, I just need a bit more Gamsol for the last couple. It does dry, it does evaporate, it does soak into the paper, and I'm done round here, checking I've got the right colour. Okay, let's do this. Just going to pull the colour down round the edge as well. Just from here. And I've got enough here for that little bit of shadow there. I've got that highlight, like so. I'm going to just add some more colour under here. Been a bit stingy with it, and under those edges, around those edges, and perhaps a little bit at the bottom. Just help to bring that out. And again, let's get a bit more of the Gamsol. So this week is turning into a week where I'm doing some peopling. My friend Liz was in touch this morning and we've agreed to go out for a walk and brunch on Thursday, so there won't be a video Thursday, nor will there on Wednesday, because a neighbour from my childhood is visiting the area. She doesn't live in my home area anymore, and she's asked if we can, it'd be lovely to meet up to chat and catch up and so on. And she follows my artwork and things like that as well, because she thinks she likes it. So that'll be a nice thing to do. So that's a brunch on Wednesday. So again, on Wednesday there won't be a video, especially as I need to get on with the book that needs to be finished by the end of this month. Now that bit there is really purple, pinky purple. So I'm just going to add some of this violet purple and just tease it out. But I'm also going to, not the lilac, I want the violet purple. I'm going to add little bits of purple on the tips of all of these petals to have them matching up. Because if we do with one, and we do with them all, then it doesn't look like an oops, it looks like it's deliberate. Yeah? And just that little hint of colour there actually is really quite nice. There we are, happy accidents. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's a happy accident. It's what you do with it that changes it from oh no to actually that works. And this has, I think I like that extra bit of colour on the edge of them. There we go. So that's my first rose. And I will put extra highlights along the lighter bits when I get there. Okay, this bottom one, I think I'm going to use the violeting, which is this darker, more reddy purple colour. And let's see how that looks, and bearing in mind that I know that I can always come back with a different colour if I want to on the edge. But I'm just going to stick to one colour because I don't want it to be completely different on the edge, but I'd like it to feel like it's still part of the same petal but just a slightly different colour of it. And that's where adding this colour in helps to blend them or mix the two colours together so that they're not completely distinctive, different colours. If that makes sense, I'm not quite sure what I'm saying. I know what I want to say. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to have a busy day tomorrow. So I don't know whether I'll get a video tomorrow because I really, really have to get down to this work. And once my head's cleared, you know, hopefully my head will be clear. I've also got some serious adulting to do. It won't take me long, but I've got to do it. So so I may not get a video again now towards the end of the week or the weekend, but I have let you know, and you know, you never know, I might sneak one in, because I'll set myself a target every day of so many sketches to do, and once I've done that number of sketches I may go, right, okay, video time. So I might surprise you. We shall see. I'm just going to say that. We shall see with that one. I haven't put colour here. It's not a problem. It's only a problem if you miss it completely, but then you can always go back and add it at a later date. Not so much for highlight here, but that's okay because I can always pop some highlight in. It's a lot harder to get a highlight in a small area, I think. Especially as I am rushing a little bit, but it'll work. We'll see it. Do want that colour on the edge. I've got to do around here as well. Be fine. There we go. I love how it just smooths everything out, this. So I really do quite like nice smooth colours, you know. Okay, let's keep going. I think I might need to add some more colour under the bottoms here, although having paler petals could be interesting around the outside edge, couldn't it? So I'm saying about adding interest, but let's keep the shadows underneath there and keep the highlight across the middle. I also need to bear in mind that at the tip of the tortillon I've got some coloured pencil colour, so I'm going to be adding some as well as blending some out. So it'll work. I do like the colour of the background with this. It's a lovely cool kind of colour. It's lovely soft and relaxing. Reminds me very much of the moon. It's colours that go with the moon. In my head anyway. Which I think is appropriate because isn't full moon today, or we're about the full moon, aren't we? I don't keep track of it quite like I used to, but I know it's around because I'm all over the place. I'm clumsy as anything. Whether that's the moon or my haunting menstrual cycle as I go through menopause, but it's always the case. I always go clumsy then, and I go, oh, I'm clumsy. Oh, is it full moon? Look up at night. Oh yeah. As I walk into the door or get parts of my clothes hung up on a door handle and then spend ages trying to disentangle myself. I kid you not. Trip over thin air. Yep, that's me. Now, as a scientist, it sounds a bit odd for me to say that, but But I've noticed it over a long period of time, is that around full moon I get really clumsy. I can be not quite with it, worse than usual. My sense of spatial awareness gets worse. I'm not very good at the best of times, but dear goodness. And it's lovely and warm out. Too warm for me, too sunny for me today to be out and about in it now. So Thursday's going to be interesting because we're my friend Liz and I, we're going to we're having brunch, but we're going for a walk around an RSPB reserve. A bird RSPB is the Royal Society for Protection of Birds, and it's a wetland preserve. It's right on the edge of the Severn Estuary, cliffs at, at the end, and a sort of small, very small lighthouse there. And so we're going before we have our brunch for a walk, which will be lovely because I really haven't been out walking or doing anything much for a long while, since I hurt my shoulder really. So the weather got awful then, and then other things happened, and so to have somebody, to be with and a reason to do it will, hopefully ignite that fire, that love of walking in nature. I mean, I'm not a walker as in a rambler or, a hiker. I just like to toddle around, look at the world. But I will walk a fair distance, maybe not as quickly as other people would, but, not as young as I used to be. But I always enjoy it when I do go, and I don't know why I can't motivate myself to do it this time. I think it's got something to do with my mental health and well-being more than anything else. There we are. So this one I'm using lilac, so it should be a more pinkier purple or a lighter one. So let's have a look. Pick up some Gamsol again, and let's see how this looks here. So even as scrappy as my addition of colour is, this Gamsol is like magic. It smooths it all out. Isn't that what the people at Entangled say about their tortillons and graphite and the white charcoal? Is that the tortillon's like a magic wand in how it smooths it and softens it and works it into the paper and creates the shadow and highlight the contrast that you need. Well, it's the same kind of idea here. It is. So I can work quite quickly on this. I don't have to get precious about how I add pencil because I'm looking for quite a smooth result at the end of it. Touch more Gamsol. It's not shifting as it should. Sign it's dried out because it's so warm. So got that. So I think I may finish this one when I've completed adding colour to these flowers, these rose-like flowers. And they could be peonies as well, almost. Anything like that. And go and do some self-care. In other words, I may try a nap. But then I'm worried I won't sleep tonight, and that'll be no good if I wake up tomorrow and I'm not able to adult. I definitely need at least something to eat, so don't know what yet, but I will work it. My brain's ticking on it now, so once I've got the video uploading and everything, I can go and do that. Because whatever I cook, it's going to be quick and easy. I can tell you that much. Did my order for Abel and Cole this week. I haven't had an order for the last couple of weeks. I've had a bit of a break, but I decided I would because they've got an offer on halloumi cheese, halloumi, and they do one that's called buffalomi, which is buffalo milk rather than the mixture of cow, sheep, and goat's milk that halloumi really is. And I saw that, I thought, oh, that sounds interesting, I'll try that. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a lot more expensive than the ordinary halloumi, but by gum, it's worth it. But with an offer on and its price is reduced by a fair amount, well, it'd be rude not to, so I've bought 2 packs. So I think I'll be a halloumi cheese monster for the next couple of weeks. Because I absolutely love it. I really, really love it. So this is beginning to look quite good. This one hasn't got as much in the way of contrast, so I'm just going to start to add some contrast here, just to help to bring that out, perhaps a little bit more. But I can do that with all of them at some point. What I do want to do is I do want to add dots of white and things there, and I may put some lines in, or may put some white lines, I'm not sure. But these bits here, now for my leaves, I want to pick some colours that would go in with this. I'm not going realistic rose coloured. What am I trying to say here? Rose coloured, you know, rose leaf coloured things. See, I'm not making any sense, but I think you get, hopefully you get what I'm trying to say here. I've got teal as well. So I think those may actually work with the background because they're both sort of like lovely bluey greens. So I'm just going to give this a go. So I'm going to put teal, no, this is turquoise, to the middle of these leaves. And then I'm going to put the teal at the base. So they're looking a bit more like evergreen leaves rather than the dark rich green, you know, the traditional greeny colour leaves of roses. But am I worried? Am I bothered by this? Do you know, I'm not. Simply because these are the colours that I need today. I want these lovely sea watery colours, or colours that remind me of the sea, of the ocean, of the moon. I think they're very soothing and calming to me. They're not bright colours, they're not in-your-face colours, they're softer and subtler today. And that is definitely, I'll show you the one I did that I've gone, nope, not sharing that, not happy with it, and I now know why. It's the colours weren't right, and I don't know why I went with those colours. I think it's because they're colours I don't normally use. And here I am going, well, there's a very good reason I don't normally use those colours. It's because I don't particularly like them. You know, or they're too energetic for me, perhaps, or they just don't suit, whichever way it is. So those will look really nice, I think. And I am going to add the stems in. So I'm putting plenty of the teal down the left hand side and just underneath the stems. And I am going to blend these out and then add the other colour after this is soaked in. Okay. The tip of this wasn't so soft. Should have used a different one, Angela. You can see it's starting to pick these out from the background now. and standing separate from that. These may need a little bit of darker colour. I keep picking that slate grey up. I don't think that's going to be the colour I need. I do want a lovely rich, it's tropical rain. No. Eucalyptus might do it. We add a hint of eucalyptus here. It's more of a greeny green than a bluey green. Yeah, I know. But that may just be that hint of a darker colour that we need here. I think it is actually. I think that works really nicely. Yeah, definitely. So 3 colour blending in such a small leaf. But it works. Just take a little bit of it down to the tip. Whatever's on here, I can blend it out. Perhaps round the edges as well. Just to give the darker edges, again, that feeling of the leaf bending. So that works. And I think I'm going to put some under here. That darker colour. Just to give the shadows that I'm looking for. Okay, let me look for a smaller, pointier, harder, pointier one to get into these small spaces. I'm just going to clean this off. Making no apologies for the scratchy noises with the sandpaper. Okay, let's have a look. So it's the stems I want to do this with. I'll just move it out a little bit to the edge, so we've got a highlight, but we've also got shadows there. That's nice. And that'll be nice there now as well. That looks good. Okay, these sections I'm going to use the eucalyptus here. Now this is going to be interesting because I can see patterns from the stencil behind. So I'm trying to add something else in here. Now I don't know where I got those stencils from or what make or brand they are. I got them many years ago, but there are so many stencils available now. You know, if you just type in stencils for art, or stencils for mixed media, or stencils for card making into Google, you will get a ton coming back of, you know, responses. And there's so many different kinds, you know. And it's not something I use often, but perhaps I will use them more often now if I do more of this kind of work, which I'm hoping to. So these colours are going to look lovely. I'm going to put some of the purples next door, so I'm just showing you just a bit of what I'm doing. Ooh, I'm knocking things over again. So this is lovely because I can just blend this out quite a long way, can't I? I did put a lot more of that teal at the top than I did at the bottom though. But I'm fine with that. You can see, and I love the way that gives this feeling of you know, shadows spreading away. I'm going to put some of that. I said it wasn't teen, it's eucalyptus. Teal even. This is eucalyptus. So just a little bit more, and I'm not going to spread this out too much. I just want to move it up towards the line here. And just blend it out on the edge, just that little bit, just to give us some shading or shadowing there, as if this is going underneath. That, so that, again, it's adding that feeling of dimensional volume. It's the contrast we need, just to add interest, and I think I do need some more of this down here. Bit stingy with it, shall we say. I love the control I have over this as well. I really do, and I'm so chuffed that I've discovered this all by accident, not in, or you know, just trying something out and going, oh gosh, I like that. So all of these are going to get treated in a similar kind of way. So I'm going to take the lilac here and I'm going to very much do something similar with the lilac. So I'm just putting plenty down. Now then, have I got one that's got, nope, nope. Where's the one I had lilac on? Well, who knows? Oh, hang on, was that it? That's it. There we go. There we go. Job's a good one. So I'm just going to blend this one out. Keeping it dark in those corners. And fairly dark along here, but not, you know, still spreading it out that little bit. Did a lot of colour in this section, but I'm fine about that. So that's giving me a lovely area there. I may just need to add just a hint around here, just to complete that sort of dome shape, so that this section could have, as if it's bulging upwards a bit. The opposite, you do the opposite if you want it to feel that it's got a bulge and, you know, it sinks down in the middle or sinks down. It's where you put the dark colour in, so you put that in the middle where I'm leaving this fairly clear of colour. So you get the idea here, yeah? Do another section. And what I'm trying to do is, like, this one and this one would belong to the same piece, so they would have the same colours in there. So I'm going to pick a different, I'm going to pick teal for these, because the teal will be a different colour to the eucalyptus. So let me have a look. I've got this one here, which we must probably do. It's got some eucalyptus on it, but that's fine. I don't mind it. They will blend together, which is okay by me, because all the colours are being used in this. The blends will feel part of it anyway. It's much bluer green than the eucalyptus, isn't it? I'm not worried too much if it's not a perfect kind of blending out, because it will be covered up because I'm going to add patterns to these. So that'll be fine. Yeah, I wouldn't mind these just that little bit more softened and blended out. Should be able to do it. Maybe not. Okay. So I used lilac there, didn't I? Let's use some of the, this is the blue violet, or violet blue, violent blue. So it'll be a bluer colour than the other one. So I've got this one here I can use. I need a bit more of the Gamsol. We must try this with a brush at some point. Let's see how that works. I'm not sure I'm going to experiment on this one though, because I like this one. give some of that. So, oh, I've got those two different colours, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the blue violet here. As if that one's carrying on in a weird way. It's fine, it works. This one I've left the highlight right in the middle. I haven't put too much in the way of shadow down the edges. And then this one here, I'm going to use this really light coloured pencil. This is the turquoise green. And hopefully it'll be quite a bit subtler. It's a lovely colour. I do like it a lot. But I like all of these colours. They make me quite happy. So let's have a look here and just blend this out and through a bit. I come back with the teal in the corners just to darken them up, and I may do the same here with some of the jungle rain. Oh no, the eucalyptus, wasn't it? My mind's just puzzling over why a green colour is called rain. Is the rain in the jungle green really, or does it just look green because jungles are green coloured? Or does it rain algae infested water? I don't know, is the answer. I do not know. Doesn't make any sense to me. But there we are. I can have a habit of taking things far too literally and get puzzled by things at times, and I wonder what do people mean by that? And I have to have it explained to me, and I go, oh, I've always wondered why people say things like, yeah. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Perhaps not. How long? 42 minutes. I am going to spend just a few minutes more. Tip, these colours, I may not remember what colours I've used, so I'm putting them back in my pot of pencils and I'm putting them in with their points up so I know which ones I will want to use to complete this, because this is my first thing to complete. Okay. 1, gold ink. 2, a brush. That'll be lovely. Is that my 3-0? It's my 3-0. Oh, need to shake that up. Naughty me is going to spray a bit of water on my table. I say naughty, it doesn't actually affect my table at all. So this is the calligraphy ink. It's gold. I've got a brush, which I should have put in water first, but hey ho. And I'm just going to use this to fill in these gaps. And because it's such a fine brush, I've got quite a lot of control about it. It will, if I do happen to go onto the black lines, I know I can draw over them again, so it's no big deal. I prefer my brush to move this way, so trying to keep the amount of ink that's going down the same. I just think this may. Oops. Well, I say may, it will look really lovely. It will add that hint of luxury, I suppose, or specialness to this. actually ordered a gold gel pen, one of the Pilot hybrid gels, and I had an email from Amazon telling me that they were unable to deliver it, so they've sent it back and I'll get a full refund. So I'm guessing that means it hadn't been packaged very well by the seller. It's a bit gutted, but you know, I know what I want, and I will find it somewhere else more reliable. Cult Pens may have it, which is my go-to for pens. I can't find them on Amazon, and often, you know, I'll only buy things on Amazon if A, it's the only place I can find a product, or B, I'm desperate for it next day. Otherwise I'll go to Jet Pens. Not Jet Pens, Cult Pens, Jet Pens in America. I like watching their videos about products. It's dangerous stuff for me though. Okay, so I'll just get my brush wet. I'll clean that up in a moment. Put the lid on my ink before I knock it over. We've had a bad case of whoopsies today. And then I'll move this so you can see the gold. And I'm going to put gold in each of these. And I just think that works really nicely. I like the colours. I know there's more work to do. There's more detail to put in the roses. I want highlights. I may want to put some lines in to help define that curve, that curl. I definitely want highlights in there. And these need to be filled with patterns, which I'll do. And then colour and intensify the colour, and I may work on that in other areas here. These little leaves, I'm going to use the same colours as I did for the bigger leaves, so darker at the base going to lighter at the tip, with perhaps a hint of darkness at the tip because it's bending over. But I'd like to say thank you for joining me. I hope you like this one, and until I see you again, take care, look after yourselves, and find time to be creative. Ta-ta for now. Bye. Oil.